Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll do the second part of our last video, which was understanding COVID-19 with Python and JavaScript. So today we decided that we will do the JavaScript part. So this one will be very quick because I've done the projects already. So what I will just do here, I will just copy paste the code, the JavaScript code, and explain a bit by bit what I've done to reach the same result using JavaScript programming language. So the first thing to do here is to create the person actions as we did here for our Python project. It is these actions. So what we do in JavaScript, we just create a constant and then we put them in a list, and it will act the same way as this one here in the Python code. So the next thing we will do is to create the symptoms. Here we want to use enums, but because the plain JavaScript doesn't have enums. If you want to do something similar to enums, you must use TypeScript, which is a subset of a JavaScript programming language. So here, as compared to what we did here in Python, the in Python we actually created two classes here, which acted as an enum, and then we define also a function which will describe what type of enum we are accessing. So this is what we did here, but here in JavaScript I created a hash map, an object, as we call it in JavaScript. We create an object, and then we set the key and the value, and which will act the same way as this here in Python acted. The next thing was to create the alarming symptoms objects, which, as I keep on try to help you guys to understand both codes. Here we created also an alarming symptoms enum, and I just copy the value almost, but then because there are two different languages, I'm trying to mimic the same behaviors. So the next thing here was just to create a coronavirus base class, as we did here in Python, as we did here in Python. So this class was consisting of just be the base class, which all the other viruses will inherit. So that's what I did here actually. I created a class, and JavaScript the same this function here in it we act the same as this function somehow. Act the same as this function the constructor function for this class coronavirus. So upon initiating any virus class here, we will call this super class here coronavirus, and we will give the virus name. We see also here our class COVID-19, which also extend the coronavirus base class. It does the same as what we have here. So you need to have call the constructor function in order to call the super class here using this super keyword function. And then we define also a transmission function, which will take as a parameter an infected person and not yet infected person, and the social distance between the two. And this function here is exactly similar to this one. It's, just to see how, I just wanted to show how how very similar are these two languages. So, and the next thing was to create our class, person class, which is almost identical to the class we have here. So what I did is just create a constructor class and set the name, age, health status, and if this is the instance of the person will be wearing a mask or not. because these are not typed language. It's very difficult to know that these actually are supposed to be a boolean. But in other tutorial, I will show you. I will use some typed, strongly typed programming languages, at least to show you how this, when using a strongly typed language, it helps you write safe code and good code. So that's why actually TypeScript is very popular nowadays. So this Person class will have a treatment function, treatment method, a test COVID method also, an infect method which will receive an instance of the person, and then it will check if the person is negative, and then we call here the infected function, which is here, and this infected function will set the health status of this object here as positive. And for the symptoms function, which this was a bit trickier, I did the same. And then if the day since contracting the virus is less or greater than 7, or is equal or lesser than 7, we will loop through the keys of this object here. We loop through the keys of this object, and then we access the keys actually. And then the keys, after getting the keys here, we will return the keys, so then to call this this function. So like here, we access the keys, which using the map will transform this list, and it will give back our key for each key. And then here, this condition is just to skip these two function, because we don't need them. We just want to access these 4 symptoms here. Yeah, so the next thing was to do the same when the day since contracting the virus is more than 7 days. And then the last thing was to test our program and to see if what you did here just worked. This may seem a bit easy, but you go through the code. I will post the code into my GitHub account, so then you can check them later on, and you can test this, and it's supposed to work. So thank you for this. This was very brief, but at least it will help you to see and compare the two languages. Okay, thank you very much.